Jai Hind and welcome all. Welcome to Easy English Alpha Omega YouTube channel. Dear friends, I am your host Mr. Praveen Patel, and today we are going to see the third poem in the HSC English syllabus, and the title of the poem is Inchcape Rock. So let's learn. The title. Okay, now this particular picture will help you to understand what is the poem is all about. So try to understand this picture. This picture is going to definitely help you in the understanding of this particular poem. Now, as you can see in the picture, that there is a rock structure or rocks in the middle of the sea, and there is lighthouse over there. So these rocks, if there is a high tide, then the water level will increase. When the water level will increase, suppose that this is the particular you see lighthouse. If water level is here, and when the water level is increasing, then only the top of the portion of this particular lighthouse may be seen from there. In that case, you simply cannot see the rock structure or rocks which are hidden due to water. So accidents are possible at such kind of circumstances. एक्सीडेंट हो सकते हैं भैया, क्योंकि वो तो पत्थर दिखाई नहीं देगा. ऑलराइट, दगड दिसणारच नाही खालचा. ऑलराइट, so try to understand this. So what I am trying to make you understand, that once you understand this picture, then you will definitely understand this poem. Okay, so see, these are the rocks. If you take a close look at it, there are rocks, but the water is hiding them. Alright, and for ships, this is a very dangerous situation. Okay, so let's try to talk about the poet. Robert Southey, 1774 to 1843. He was born in Bristol, England. He was the son of a draper, educated at Westminster School and Balliol College, Oxford. He was a poet laureate of England from 1813 to 1843. Some of his short poems like The Scholar, The Battle of Blenheim, Bishop Hatto, The Inchcape Rock, etc. are very popular with the school children. Inchcape Rock is a ballad. Now, being a person in Maharashtra, we are not unaware of what is ballad. Okay, ballad means in Marathi word what we call povad. So we have a Maratha warrior called Shivaji Maharaj, and he was followed by his son, the great warrior Sambhaji Maharaj. So there are so many ballads which were sung on their chivalric activities, which they had carried out for a long time, and they had established Maratha Empire. Alright, so, and again, there were so many other Maratha warriors. There were so many ballads written on these warriors also. Okay, so that is a ballad. It's a story of the 14th century attempt by the abbot of Aberbrothock to install a warning bell. So why the bell was installed there, I had shown you the picture. The bell was a warning bell, so that will warn the mariners that there is that notorious rock. What is notorious rock named as Inchcape? The title of the poem. Again, go back to the title. Inchcape Rock. That is the title. Okay. A notorious sandstone reef. What is Inchcape? It is a notorious sandstone reef about 11 miles, that is almost 18 kilometers, off the east coast of Angus, Scotland, near Dundee and Fife, occupied by the Bell Rock Lighthouse. Southey was inspired by the legendary story of a pirate who removed the bell on the Inchcape rock placed by the abbot of Aberbrooke. The poem gives us a message that those who do wrong things will meet the due punishment. Bura karoge, bura paoge. That is the message given in this particular poem. So he is the poet. Now let's turn to the icebreakers activity. The first icebreaker activity that you are able to see over there is prepare a word register related to marine life. So one word is given by them. First word is sailor. Some other words you can add to that, such as lifeboat, such as captain, such as compass, such as submarine, such as boat, such as ship, such as torpedo. Okay, what is a torpedo? Torpedo is you can say that it's a water missile. If you have seen a movie like Ghazi Attack, then you perhaps remember that there is a weapon which is fired from a submarine. All right, then that is called as torpedo. There are also some other words are there: navigation. Then you have life jacket. All right, if you have seen a movie like Titanic, so the hero, heroines, and so many others are wearing that life jacket that is going to save the lives. Okay, fine. And that will save them from drowning. Okay, fine. बुडण्यापासून वाचवणे. All right. So, what are the functions of lighthouse? That is the second activity which is given in icebreakers. So, first one has been of course told by them. They have told that to show the direction is the first thing. Secondly, to serve as a navigational aid. The third thing is that it functions like a traffic signal at sea. Then they have asked for one more activity. Discuss in pairs the various famous rocks in the world and mention their places where they are. कहाँ से belong करते हैं? So that they have asked for. One is of course given by them. Balancing Rock, Mahabalipuram. Second is Naina Rock, Taiwan. Third is Old Harry Rock, England. Then we have Wave Rock, the USA. One more you can note as an addition: Split Apple Rock, New Zealand. So if you go to the internet, simply just write down these names, titles, and you will be able to see the pictures. Okay. Narrate in the class a story about someone who destroyed or spoiled someone else's good work. So you can tell any story. Okay. That if someone has done something bad and destroyed some other person's good work. समझ में ऐसे भैया बहुत सारे पड़े हैं. कोई भी स्टोरी उठा लो, your purpose will be solved. Okay. Discuss in pairs and groups the following expressions. Take the help of your teacher. So the first expression is there. The first expression is as you sow, so shall you reap. जैसा बोओगे वैसा काटोगे. That is the Hindi meaning. कराल तर भराल मराठीमध्ये. Crime gets its own punishment. Okay. म्हणजे दुसऱ्याचं वाईट करल. Same thing will happen to you one day. What goes around comes around. Alright. So, whatever energy you are exhibiting in the world, same energy is going to come back to you. Fine. Tit for tat. जशास तशी मराठीमध्ये. Alright. जैसे को वैसा हिंदीमध्ये. Evil digs a pit for others but falls into the same. तो बुरे लोग होते हैं, दूसरे के लिए गड्ढा खोदते हैं, दुसऱ्यासाठी खड्डा खोदतोय, पण परत येतोय आणि स्वतःच पडतोय. All right. Fine. So that's all with the activity. Icebreakers is over. Now we are turning to the new words. Let's try to see which are the new words coming into this poem. The first word is stir, to incite to action or prompt, you can say. Second is still. Still means stir, not moving. Keel, a large beam along the underside of a ship's hull from bow to stern. Float, movement of people or things. Flowing, water flows. We know that so many rivers are there which are flowing, that we say. Now try to understand. I'm going to talk about this comma. So many people don't understand what it is, why there is comma in the middle. So we have to understand three concepts if we are trying to interpret this comma. So first is aphesis. What is aphesis? If there is omission of the initial part or beginning. So if initial part is absent and comma is given there and the rest of the rest of the letters follow over there, then that is aphesis. If middle part is missing and comma is given there, that means it is syncope. And there is one more third concept is apocope. When the final part is omitted and comma is given there. So three things once again I repeat. Number one, aphesis, omission of initial part. Syncope, omission of middle part. Apocope, omission of final part. That's all. So anywhere you are able to find this comma, I hope that this particular explanation will come to your mind. Okay. Next is about. I have explained this word. That head of abbey, so the place where monks live or is of monks. Boy, the pronunciation is almost similar, but the meaning is different. So it's not B-O-Y boy. It's a B-U-O-Y boy. So that is a floating object anchored in the sea. Floating object anchored in the sea to mark dangerous places. There are some dangerous places in the sea. So we cannot just keep a signboard. Alright. Or we cannot have something warning over there. We can just, if we place it, it will flow with water. So this is a buoy is something, it's a floating object which is on the surface of the water, and that indicates that something is there going on. So I hope that this will clarify this word. Hid. What is hid? Past tense of hide. Surge as well. What is surge as well? Sudden and great rise in the level of sea. Perilous. What is perilous? Perilous means dangerous. Blessed. It's a old English form of blessed. Screamed. A loud emphatic exclamation of extreme emotion. Wheeled around. Flying around in circle. Next word is joins. That is joy or enjoyment, excitement, you can say. Speck, a tiny dot. Tiny means small. Sir Ralph the Rover. That is the name of sea pirate or sea thief, you can say. Pirate means thief. Whistle, act of whistling. Mirthful, filled with mirth. Excess means extra. Wickedness means state of being wicked. Quoth means said. Plague means cause pain or trouble. Lowered means coming down. Gurgling sound, to flow with bubbling sound. Bubbles, a small spherical cavity in solid material. Burst, break from internal pressure. Scored, traveled freely, plundered store, big amount of looted wealth. Steers, directs the course of ship. Haze, thin mist. Mist, that is in Marathi what we call duke. In Hindi what we call kora. Hath, hath means had, old English form. Dawn, dawn means brighten with daylight. What we call pahat in Marathi. Kanst is an old English form of can't. Methinks, methinks means I think. It's an archaic form. Drift, drift means move slowly. Tower, tower means past tense of tear. Tear, tower, torn. Despair, to give as beyond hope. Sinking, submerge into liquid. Devil, an evil creature. Knell, the sound of a bell run solemnly after death or at funeral announcement of death. चर्च में ये बजती है घंटा. What we call in Marathi मृत्यु घंटा. Okay. Fine. So I'll read out the poem for you first, and then we'll go to the explanation of the poem. No stir in the air, no stir in the sea. The ship was as still as she could be. Her sails from heaven received no motion. Her keel was steady in the ocean. Without either sign or sound of their shock, the waves flowed over the Inchcape rock. So little they rose, so little they fell. They did not move the Inchcape bell. The abbot of Aberbrothock had placed that bell on the Inchcape rock. On a buoy in the storm it floated and swung, and over the waves its warning rung. When the rock was hid by the surge's wall, the mariners heard the warning bell. And then they knew the perilous rock, and blessed the abbot of Aberbrothock. The sun in the heaven was shining gay. The sun in heaven was shining gay. All things were joyful on that day. The seabirds screamed as they wheeled around, and there was joyance in their sound. The buoy of the Inchcape bell was seen, a darker speck on the ocean green. Sir Ralph the rower walked his deck, and he fixed his eye on the darker speck. He felt the cheering power of spring. It made him whistle. It made him sing. His heart was mirthful to excess, but the rower's mirth was wickedness. His eye was on the Inchcape float. Quoth he, my men, put out the boat and row me to the Inchcape rock, and I will plague the abbot of Aberbrothock. The boat is lowered, the boatmen row, and to the Inchcape rock they go. Sir Ralph bent over from the boat, and he cut the bell from the Inchcape float. Down sunk the bell with a gurgling sound. The bubbles rose and burst around. Quoth Sir Ralph, the next who comes to the rock won't bless the abbot of Aberbrothock. Sir Ralph the rower sailed away. He scoured the seas for many a day, and now grown rich with plundered store, he steers his course for Scotland's shore. So thick a haze overspreads the sky, they cannot see the sun on high. The wind hath blown a gale all day, at evening it hath died away. On the deck the rower takes his stand, so dark it is they see no land. Quoth Sir Ralph, it will be lighter soon, for there is the dawn of the rising moon. Canst hear, said one, the breakers roar, for methinks we should be near the shore. Now where we are I cannot tell, but I wish I could hear the Inchcape bell. They hear no sound. The swell is strong through the wind hath sorry, though the wind hath fallen, they drift along, till the vessel strikes with a shivering shock. Oh Christ, it is the Inchcape rock! Sir Ralph the rower tore his hair. He cursed himself in his despair. The waves rushed in every side. The ship is sinking beneath the tide. But even in his dying fear, one dreadful sound could the rover hear. A sound as if with the Inchcape bell, the devil below was ringing his knell. So once again, this picture will help you to understand this poem. Once again, that is the picture of the poet Robert Southey. Okay, the first stanza of the poem, the narrator provides description of the calmness of the sea, the air, the sea, the ship. They were all very still. The sails of the ship were getting no motion from the wind, as its keel was steady in the ocean. The second stanza of the poem discusses the mirth sea waves. These waves were rising and falling so little that they did not make any sign or sound. The waves were very gently flowing over the Inchcape rock, and they were not moving or ringing the bell. The third stanza describes that bell. The old abbot of Aberbrothock positioned that Inchcape bell there on the Inchcape rocks, so that during the stormy sea that bell used to float on a buoy and rang wildly swung by the high tides, which would alert everyone that the dangerous Inchcape rock was there. So this is the bell. Highlighted. The Inchcape bell placed by the abbot of Aberbrothock. Okay, now see this picture. In this picture, it is visible to you that the water is submerged. Okay, now the water totally submerged the rock over there. In the fourth stanza, the narrator tells us how the bell used to guide the mariners in the bad weather condition. The seamen could not see the rock as it stayed hidden under the high waves during the storms, but they used to hear the ringing bell said by the great man went away from the perilous, that is dangerous rock. So the bell saved their lives from the mishap, that is durghatna, what we say, bad happening. Then those seafarers used to bless the abbot of Aberbrothock for his great job. In the fifth stanza, the narrator talks about the cheerful atmosphere as it generally happens before every disaster. On a particular bright day, everything looked joyful. The seabirds were whirling over the sea, as well as those birds were screaming joyously. In the sixth stanza, the narrator of the poem introduces this character, the pirate, Sir Ralph, for the first time. On the fine day, the buoy, that is an anchored floating sign to show the reef on the Inchcape rock, was very clearly visible, as if it was a blackish spot in the green ocean. Sir Ralph the rower went on the deck of his vessel and gazed at dark spot of the buoy. In the seventh stanza, the narrator talks about the pirate's feelings and thoughts, who was very delighted at the good spring atmosphere. He was making whistling sounds as well as was singing in joy, but no one had any idea that there was a sinful thought which was coming in his mind, that is to cut the well off. So that was the reason behind his happiness. The eighth stanza describes Roher, who is speaking with himself and reveals his cunning desire. His eyes were fixed on the floating buoy on the Inchcape rock. Sir Ralph the rower ordered his crew members to take the boat near to the Inchcape rock. Then he says that he is going to plague, that is destroy, the good work of abbot of Aberbrothock. In the ninth stanza, the narrator describes that the pirate took the boat to the Inchcape rock. There he bent over the boat and cut the bell from the rock. See how? In this way. So the bell was cut off. And there goes the bell with a bubbling sound. The 10th stanza picturizes how the bell was sinking down by making the bubbling sound, and the bubbles rose and burst around. Sir Ralph was happy, thinking that the bell would save no more ships and the seamen would no longer place the abbot of Aberbrooke. Sir Ralph the Rover then sails away from the rock, and since then he had robbed and looted several ships which met accidents crashing to the Inchcape rock. He is now a rich man, and with all the looted treasures he is going back to his Scotland home, back home we can say. Scotland shore with his ship and looted treasures. In the 12th stanza, the narrator describes the gloomy atmosphere on the day the pirate is sailing back to his home, Scotland. The sun is hiding behind the thick fog that is doke, kohra, what we call in Hindi. Strong winds were blowing all day, and now in the evening it has stopped blowing. The next four lines continue the gloomy atmosphere, and the pirate is now on the deck of his ship. They can't see the land as it is very dark out there. However, Sir Ralph assures that the moon will soon appear and there will be light, but this proves out to be just dream. In the 14th stanza, one of the pirates says that he hears the roaring sound of the waves breaking against something. So he hopes that there should be shore, but he is not sure that there is shore or not. So what he reminds of is the Inchcape bell. So he regrets that there should be Inchcape bell to make him aware of the rocks as it could have guided. But there was not any sound and the tides were strong. The pirate and his team are drifting along with the ship. Suddenly the vessel gets a jerking and they all realize that the vessel has hit the Inchcape rock, unfortunately. Sir Ralph the Rover pulls his hair in frustration and he curses himself for his evil deeds. Meanwhile, the water fills in every corner of the vessel and the ship starts sinking in the sea. The final stanza of the poem, Rover is dying. He hears a sound like the ringing of the Inchcape bell, and it was actually his death knell that the devil himself was ringing beneath the water. Thus, Rover gets punishment for his sinful work of cutting the Inchcape bell. Robert Southey is a poet who always delivers a teaching through his poems, and of course, this poem is definitely not an exception. So, this is the way the ship sinks. So, this is the Scotland shore that you can see here. So, for more information, of course, you can log on to the websites like https://englishist.com, similarly wittychim.com and englishsummary.com. Thank you very much. As well as I would definitely request you to consider subscribing, as well as when you just hit the red button, don't just forget to hit the notification icon, bell icon, then hit the bell icon and again set the notification to all, so that whatever new upcoming videos which I would prepare will just reach to the top of your mobile screen. Thank you.